Well, it's a good morning from Pure Yoga. It may be a good afternoon or a good evening from you. Whatever time you're choosing to step on the mat is the right time for your body. So today we're going to be working with finding some fluidity. So the practice is going to be very moving. We're not going to be necessarily holding any poses. Now this fluidity practice connects with our second chakra, the Svadhisthana chakra. And that chakra is related to water, hence the fluidity side of it. And it's a practice that brings creativity. It's continually moving, it can be quite meditative. So basically just enjoy the movement of your limbs and the movement of the muscles, ligaments, tendons, bones. And just be grateful basically of the fact that you can move your body in the way it does in all different planes of movement. So this is a mindful movement practice. It's going to be relatively slow, but continual movements in and out of poses. So we're going to start in a seated position, bringing ourselves into a cross-legged. If that's not comfortable, maybe elevate the hips onto a cushion. Or if cross-legs isn't comfortable at all, you can bring the legs out in front of you, or you can come into a kneeling position. Make sure you have some water in case you need it. Take drinks whenever you need to. So when you find your comfortable space, just place the hands on top of the thighs. And as always at the beginning of practice, we have a moment of stillness. So just bring those shoulders into a roll first, bring them up towards the ears and then release them back down towards the hips, and take a close of the eyes. Take a moment here to have a connecting with the body. Start to bring yourself present, bring the focus inwardly, and just notice how that body feels. And let's draw into the positive feelings of the body. Noticing all those areas that feel strong, those areas that feel long and elongated. Noticing the good parts of the posture that you're holding. Just finding those positives throughout the body, from the top of the head down to the fingertips, down to the toe tips. That softness of the eyelids resting over the eyeballs, relaxed through the jaw, relaxed through the forehead, relaxed through the shoulders, but growing tall through the spine, so keeping the strength of that back, keeping that torso aligned on top of those hips. And then start to bring the attention to the breath. So that breath, we're going to try and take the Ujjayi breath, which is in and out through the nose with a slight restriction at the back of the throat. So it's slightly audible for you. So you can connect that breath to movement. So the breath to movement generally is, on your extensions you take an inhale, and on your flexions you take an exhale. In and out through the nose if you can, unless you feel you really need to use that now. Take an opening of the eyes. Take a breath in, reach the hands up and over the head. Take a breath out, bring your left hand to the floor and reach over with the right hand to the left side of the mat. Your next breath in, bring that hand back up to the ceiling. On your out breath, bring your right hand down, reach over with the left hand to the right side of the mat. Breath in comes back to center. Breath out, bring your left hand down, reach over with the right. Breath in comes back to center. Breath out, right hand down, reach over with the left. Breath in comes back to center. On your breath out, bringing your right hand to your left knee, rotate to the left. Breath in, back to center. Breath out, bring your left hand to the right knee and rotate to the right. Breath in, back to center. Breath out, rotate to the left. Breath in, back to center. Breath out and rotate to your right. Breath in comes back to center. Breath out, bring the hands onto the top of the knees. Breath in, push the chest forward, lift the gaze. Breath out, send the chest to the back of the room, tuck the chin under and curl through the shoulders. Breath in, take it back into extension, lifting the chest. Breath out and fold everything back in. Bit similar to cat-cow, but in seated. Breath in, lift up with the chest. Breath out, fold it back in. Come back to a neutral space. Make your way into a tabletop position. Heel of the hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, tops of the feet flat. Soften the elbows. Hold it in that tabletop. We're going to work from the base of the spine up to the top of the head, and we'll go back through that same direction. Breath in, start to curl up through the tailbone, up through the mid, upper back, lift the head. Breath out, start from the tailbone again and start to curl it back under. Let the head be the last thing that tucks in. Breath in, start with the tailbone. Articulating through that spine, one vertebra at a time into extension. And on your out breath, tuck that tailbone under. Start to curl up through that spine into flexion. One more both directions. Lift up from the tailbone. Start to curl up through that spine. Lifting the head. Last one into flexion. Tuck the tailbone. Start to curl up through the mid, upper, cervical spine, chin to the chest. Come back to a neutral space, tabletop position. Weight into the left hand, raise the right hand up and out to the side. Breath out, thread the right hand in between left hand, left knee. We're not staying, we're just moving. Breath in, raise that right hand back up to the ceiling. Breath out and thread. Breath in and lift. Breath out and thread. Breath in and lift. Breath out, place the right hand to meet the left. Weight into the right hand. Next breath in, left hand lifts. Breath out, thread. Breath in and lift. Breath out and thread. Breath in and lift. Breath out, thread. Breath in, come back to a lift. And place that left hand back to meet the right. Start to step back into a plank position. Just holding it in plank, just for a breath. Shoulders over the heel of the hands, heels pushing back, crown pushing forward. Then paddle the feet as you start to lift up through those hips. One vertebra at a time, going higher and higher. And then when you get into your down dog, keep paddling the feet. Keep bending deeply into the knees. And then start to include the hips a little. Moving those hips from side to side. Then let that movement start to come into the shoulders and into those elbows, bending one elbow at a time, one knee at a time. Really feeling that movement in the down dog shape, rather than having that down dog in stillness. Have a nod, have a shake of the head. Really make that body move. Maybe sway that body a little from side to side. And then just for a moment, start to bring that body back to stillness into your downward facing dog. Long breaths in, long breaths out. Walking the hands back to the feet, one handprint at a time, bending the knees as much as you need to bring those hands back towards the feet. And then to get back to the feet, let the body hang, let the head go. Breath in comes up to a half lift, straighten the legs, straighten the back, hands to the shins. Breath out, bend the knees, bring the hands back to the floor, let go of the head. Breath in, straighten the legs, hands to shins, straighten back. Breath out, let go, bend the knees, let go of the head. Breath in, half lift, hands to shins, straighten legs, straighten back. Breath out, let that body fold over those thighs, let the head go. Slowly curl up through that spine, one vertebra at a time, bringing yourself all the way up to a standing position and roll the shoulders back. Breath in, raise the hands up to the ceiling. On your out breath, fold from the hips, bend into the knees, bring the hands towards the floor. Let the head go. Breath in, raise the hands up and out to the side, and then back up to the ceiling. Breath out, swan dive, bend from the hips, bring the hands back to the floor. Breath in, raise those hands back up to the ceiling. Breath out, bring the hands to the chest, palms together. Place the hands on the hips, weight into your left foot, bring the toes of the right foot onto tiptoes, turn the right knee out, then bring that right foot onto the shin of the left leg. Keep the hips facing forward, right knee turned out. We're going to go in and out of bent knee turnouts. On your in-breath, bring that knee back to the centre. Keep the foot on the shin. On the out-breath, open that knee back out. Squeeze the outside of the hip. In-breath, come back to centre. Out-breath, squeeze the knee back out. 2 more of these. In-breath, back to centre. Out-breath, turn that knee out. Keep the hips facing forward. In-breath, back to centre. Out-breath, turn that knee back out. Hold it in that tree position, balancing onto that left foot just for another breath. And then release that right foot down. Put your weight into your right foot, come onto the toes of the left foot, turn the knee out, find a place for that left foot onto that right shin. In breath, bring the knee to the centre. Out breath, turn the knee back out. 3 more of those. In breath, back to centre. Keep the hips staying forward. Bring the knee back out. In breath, back to centre. Out breath, knee back out. Keep using the breath to the movement. In breath, back to centre. And then bring the knee back out. Hold it in those tree legs. Find that focus and that balance. Release that left foot back to meet the right. On your breath in, raise the hands up to the ceiling, bringing them out to the side. On your out breath, swan dive down with the hands and bring the hands to the floor. Breath in, come up to a half lift. Then bend the knees, reach up with the arms into a chair. On your out breath, come up onto the tiptoes, send the arms back. In breath, raise the hands, drop the heels. Out breath, send the hands back, come onto the toes. In breath, raise the hands, drop the heels. Out breath, back onto the toes. In breath, raise the hands, hold it in chair, just for a breath. Out breath, send the hands back, come onto the toes and hold it in drinking bird. Release the heels down, lift up with the arms, straighten up through the legs. On your out breath, fold from the hips, bring the hands down to the floor. Walking the hands back to the front of the mat, one handprint at a time, finding yourself back into a plank position. Holding it in plank, then drop down the knees and untuck the toes. On your breath out, lower to a hover. On your breath in, push into the hands and lift the chest away from the floor. 3 more of those. Out breath to a hover. In breath, push into the hands, lift the chest away from the floor. Out breath to a hover. Keep that core center nice and strong. In breath, push away with the hands, lift the chest. Out breath to a hover. And then release to the floor. On your breath in, lift up with the chest. On your breath out, release that chest back down. And again, breath in, lift up with the chest, maybe come a little higher, keep pushing those hips into the mat. Out breath, release back to the floor. In breath, come up, maybe even higher this time. Out breath, release back to the floor. One more breath in to lift into your highest expression of up dog. And then release that chest back to the floor. Tuck under with the toes. Push into the hands, bring the chest back towards the thighs. Foreheads towards the mat. Then push into the hands, push into the feet, lift up the hips. And squeeze those heels back just for a breath in down dog. Then start to paddle the feet, bending into the knees. Start to bring those movements up into the hips, swaying the hips a little from side to side, twisting the waist slightly, and as that waist starts to twist, it starts to come into the movement of the shoulders and the bend of the elbows. Really feeling that movement of down dog, releasing the neck, nodding, shaking the head. And then bringing everything to a still position, heels squeezing back, just holding it for a breath. And then starting to walk the feet towards the hand, 1 footprint at a time. Bending the knees as much as you need to bring those feet underneath the shoulders. Ending at the front of your mat. And then allow that body to fold over the legs, let go of the head. In breath, come up to a half lift, straighten the legs, hands on shins. Breath out, fold, bend the knees, let go of the head. In breath, half lift. Out breath, bend the knees, let go of the head. 2 more of these. In breath, straighten the legs, hands to shins, straighten the back. Out breath, allow that body to fold. In breath, half lift. Out breath and fold. Slowly and mindfully curling up through that spine now, 1 vertebra at a time. Knees stay bent until the shoulders start to stack the hips. And when you arrive in standing, roll the shoulders back. Breath in, raise the hands up. On your out breath, fold from the hips, bring the hands to the floor. Bend the knees if you need to. Breath in, raise the hands back up to the ceiling, palms together at the top. Breath out, fold from the hips, bring the hands to the floor. Breath in, raise those hands back up to the ceiling. 1 more time, fold from the hips, arms come out wide, and then down to the floor. Breath in, raise those hands back up to the ceiling. On your out breath, bring the hands to the chest. Bring the hands then to the hips. We're going to find that bent knee turn out again. So bringing your weight into your left foot, come onto the toes of the right foot, turn the right knee out and find a place for that right foot onto that left shin. Hold it in tree leg just for a breath. Then take bent knee turnouts. In breath brings the knee to the centre. Out breath, we squeeze the outside of the right hip to turn the knee out. Hips stay facing forward. Breath in, back to centre. Breath out, squeeze the outside of that right hip. 2 more, breath in, back to centre. Breath out, squeeze that knee out. Back to center, in breath. Out breath, turn that right knee out. And then squeeze that right glute to hold that knee in the external rotation of that right hip. Then release that right foot to the floor. Bring your weight into your right foot. Stabilize into your right hip. Bring onto the toes of the left foot and turn the left knee out. And find a place for that left foot on the inside of the right shin. Breath in, bring that knee to the center. Breath out, open the knee back out. 3 more, working with your breath. Still sticking with that Ujjayi breath if you can. That slight restriction at the back of the throat. We have 1 more, bent knee turn out, bring it in on the in-breath. Take it out on the out-breath and squeeze that left bum cheek, hold it in external rotation, finding that focus for the balance. Then release that left foot back to the floor, weight into both feet. Reach up with the arms, sink into the knees and the hips, finding chair. Breath in, send the arms back, come up onto the toes, raise the heels. Hold it there for a breath. Your next in-breath, drop the heels, raise the hands. Out breath, come back up onto the toes and raise the heels. In breath, drop the heels, raise the hands. Out breath, come up onto the toes, raise the heels. 1 more, in breath, raise the hands. Out breath, send the hands back, raise the heels. Drop the heels, raise the arms, hold it in chair. Send the arms back, raise the heels, come onto the tiptoes, hold it in drinking bird. Drop the heels down, raise the hands back up to the ceiling. On your out breath, fold from the hips, bring the hands all the way to the floor, let go of the head. Start to walk the feet 1 footprint at a time, back so you come into that nice long line of plank. Crown forward, heels back, softness through the elbows. And then drop down the knees, untuck the toes. On your out breath, elbows graze the ribs as you release to a hover. In breath, push into the hands, lift the chest away. 3 more of those. Elbows graze the ribs as you lower to a hover. In breath, push into the hands, lift the chest away. 2 more. Keep that strong core center, so we're not sinking in the lower back. 1 more. Bring it to a hover. And then lift that chest away. This time, release all the way to the mat. Hands by the side of the chest. Breath in, come into a little baby cobra. Breath out, release the chest back to the mat. Breath in, maybe come a little higher, push those hips down, tuck the tailbone towards the feet. Breath out and lower. Breath in, start to lift up through the chest, start to expand from the bra line, shoulders down. Breath out, come back to the floor. 1 more, this time we'll hold it in whatever expression of up dog you have. Breathe into that space. Next breath out, bring that chest back down. Tuck under with the toes. Push into the hands, bring the chest back towards the thighs. Forehead to the mat. Then start to lift up through the hips, finding your down dog. And as you're arriving down dog, paddle the feet, bend the knees, send that movement up into the hips, into the waist, into the shoulders, into the elbows. Releasing through the neck, maybe swaying a little from side to side. Getting that fluidity of the practice. Make yourself find a little bit of creativity as you move in this A-shaped position. As they say, dance like nobody's watching, but in this case, yoga like nobody's watching. Then bring yourself into a still position. Take a nice, long, easy breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Come down onto the knees. Maybe take a choice of some water or child's pose, bringing it to a little bit of stillness for a couple of breaths. Before we start to flow a little more, moving dynamically, moving with creativity. So when you're ready, making your way into a tabletop position, knees under the hips, tops of the feet flat, and then walk the hands a little further forward. Let the chest sink to the floor, keep the hips high. And then bring yourself forward, let the hips come sinking towards the heels and squeeze the shoulders, heel of the hands, and squeeze the shoulders back. Take it back to that puppy pose, chest towards the floor, forehead towards the mat. And again, drop the hips towards the heel of the hands and squeeze the shoulders back. 2 more times. Forehead comes to the floor, hips stay high, extension and flexion of the shoulders. And then bring the hips to a hover, squeeze those shoulders back. 1 more time. Forehead comes to the mat, hips stay high. Take the arms into flexion. And then take the hips down to a hover, squeeze the shoulders back. From this position, we're going to take it into circles. So send the hips over to the left side, back towards the heels, over to the right side, back to the heel of the hands. If you're working with your breath, in-breath takes the hips over to the left, back to the heels, and your out-breath over to the right and back to the heel of the hands. Opposite direction, in-breath over to the right, back to the heels, over to the left, back to the heel of the hands, and again, in-breath to the right, back to the heels, over to the left on your out-breath, and back to the heel of the hands. And then send yourself back with heels of the hands slightly more under the shoulders. Step both feet back into a plank. Lift up the hips and squeeze the heels back. Have a nod, have a shake of the head. So feet are hip width apart, hands are shoulder width apart. We're going to do a little movement with the legs. So weight comes into your left foot, raise your right leg up to ceiling on the inhale, bend the knee, turn the hips on the exhale. Inhale straightens that right leg back up, and your exhale brings that knee towards the nose. Inhale, raise that right leg. Exhale, bend the knee, turn the hip. Inhale, straighten the leg back up. Exhale, knee to nose. 2 more on this side. Inhale, raise the leg. Exhale, bend the knee, turn the hip. Inhale, straighten the leg. Exhale, knee to nose, shoulders towards the heel of the hands. 1 more time, raise the leg, inhale. Bend the knee, turn the hip, exhale. Inhale, raise the right foot, straighten the leg. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, raise the leg. Exhale, bring that right foot back to the floor. Take a paddle of the feet. Come down onto the knees. Untuck the toes. Shoulders over the hips. Breath in, raise the hands to the ceiling. Breath out, left hand forward, right hand back, rotate to the right. Inhale, both hands lift. Exhale, right hand forward, left hand back. Inhale, back to centre. Exhale, right hand down the right thigh, left hand reaches over to the right. Inhale, back to centre. Exhale, left hand down, reach over with the right. Inhale, back to centre. Exhale, release the hands back to the floor. Step back to a plank. Lift the hips, squeeze the heels back. So same on that left side. I took you down to the knees just to relax off through the shoulders a little. On your breath in, left leg lifts. Breath out, bend the knee, turn the hips. Breath in, raise that left leg. Breath out, bring the knee to the nose, shoulders over the heel of the hands. Breath in, raise the leg. Breath out, bend the knee, turn the hip. Breath in, raise the leg. Breath out, knee to nose, shoulders over the heel of the hands. 2 more of those. Breath in, raise the leg. Breath out, bend the knee, turn the hip. Breath in, realign, straighten the leg. Breath out, knee to nose. 1 more time. Breath in, raise the left leg. Breath out, bend the knee, turn the hip. Breath in, raise the leg. Breath out, knee to nose. Breath in, raise the left leg for the last time. Breath out, replace it back to meet the right. Come down onto the knees, untuck the toes. Bring the shoulders to stack over the hips and the knees. Breath in, raise the hands. Breath out, left hand forward, right hand back, rotate to the right. Breath in, raise those hands. Breath out, rotate the left, right hand forward, left hand back. Breath in, raise it with the hands. Breath out, right hand to the thigh, reach over with the left. Breath in, right hand lifts. Breath out, left hand to the thigh, right hand reaches over. Breath in, raise up the hands. Breath out, bring the hands to the hips. Step forward with your right foot. Sink the hips as low as you can go. On your breath in, come up with the hips to stack over the left knee. Breath out and sink in with those hips. Breath in and lift. 2 more, sink low in the hips, keep stable through the core, try not to take a bend in the lower back. Breath in and lift. Breath out and sink. This time hold it here. Bring your left hand to the floor, reach up with your right hand and rotate to the right. Send your right hand towards the back of the room. Then on your in-breath, lift it back up to the ceiling. Send your right hand to the front of the room. On your out-breath, in-breath, raise it back up. 2 more. Out-breath, send it to the back. In-breath, raise it back up. Out-breath, send it to the front. In-breath, raise it back up. 1 more on this side. Out-breath, send it back. In-breath, lift it back up. Out-breath, send it forward. In-breath, lift it back up. Bring both hands down either side of that right foot. Bring your right knee back to meet the left. Take a little rock of the hips from side to side. Walk the hands a little further forward. Let the hips sink towards the floor. And then let the chest and forehead come to the mat. Flexion through the shoulders. Come back, sink the hips to the floor. Or just to a hover, squeeze the shoulders back. Send the hips over the knees and the chest towards the floor. 1 more in both directions. Start to feel the hips sink towards the floor, squeeze the shoulders back. And then send the chest and forehead towards the mat and flex through the shoulders. Bring yourself back to a hover. On your in-breath, take the hips over to the left, back to the heels. Out-breath, back to the right, and back to the heel of the hands. In-breath over to the left, back to the heels. Out-breath over to the right, and back to the heel of the hands. Opposite direction, in-breath over to the right, back to the heels, over to the left, back to the heel of the hands. In-breath right, back to the heels, out-breath left, and back to the heel of the hands. Walk the hands back. Bring the hands to the hips. This time step your left foot through. Keep that core center strong. On your out breath, sink the hips. In breath, lift the hips back over that right knee. Out breath, sink the hips. Feel that stretch and release in the front of that right thigh. 2 more of these. In breath, lift. 1 more. In breath, lift. This time as you release down into the stretch, bring your right hand to the floor. Reach up with your left hand. On your out breath, send your left hand back. In breath, back to the ceiling. Out breath to the front of the room. In breath, back to the ceiling. Out breath to the back of the room. In breath, back to the ceiling. Out breath to the front of the room. In breath, back to the ceiling. 1 more time. Out breath to the back of the room. In breath, back to the ceiling. Out breath to the front of the room. And in breath, back to the ceiling. Bring that left hand down. Bring your left knee back to meet the right. Take a rock of the hips from side to side. Then stepping both feet back into a plank. Then starting to paddle the feet as you lift up with the hips. Moving those hips from side to side. Joining in the elbows and the shoulders. Really fluid through this down dog. And then bring yourself back to a still position. Heels squeezing to the back. We're going in and out of plank and down dog 4 times. Breath in, start to curl forward to your plank position. Out breath, bend the knees, scoop yourself back to down dog. In breath, scoop yourself forward, let the head be the last thing to uncurl. Out breath, bend the knees, send the tailbone back up to the ceiling. 2 more. In breath, come back to plank. Out breath, bend the knees, send that tailbone back up to the ceiling. 1 more. Forward to plank. Bend the knees, scoop that tailbone back up to the ceiling. Come down onto the knees. Swing the legs around to the front of the mat. Finding a little stillness in our staff pose first. So Dandasana, legs are straight, toes are back towards the shins, hands are down by the sides of the body. Grow up from the bra line up, squeeze the shoulders back, and then squeeze the shoulders down towards the hips. Nice tall spine, up through the crown of the head, pushing away with the heels, and then engage the thighs to lift the heels away from the mat. Release the thighs, let the heels come back to the floor. 4 more, engage the thighs, lift the heels. Relax the thighs, let the heels come back. 2 more, engage the thighs, lift the heels. Let those thighs relax. 1 more, engage the thighs, lift the heels. And then relax those thighs. So turning to your side edge of the mat with a wide leg. So we're going to find wide leg folding, but we're going to be moving from centre to side. Relax the shoulders back. Think about tilting from these hips. Walk the hands forward to as far as you can go without the back rolling. Chest stays forward. And then start to walk those hands back towards those hips. So we're going in and out of flexion and extension. Start to fold forward again with the hips, taking it to your range of movement. And then walk the hands back, 1 handprint at a time. And again, walk the hands forward. Keep those toes facing up. Walk the hands back. This time when we walk our hands forward, we'll take it to a little bit of a hold. So walking the hands as far as you can go. Maybe that's allowed you to come a little deeper by going in and out of the pose. And then just rock the shoulders from side to side. Just feeling through that spine. All those internal sensations on the inside of the groin of the thighs. We're going to start to walk from one side to the other. Breath in, walk the hands over to your right foot. Breath out, fold over that right thigh. Breath in, walk back to centre. Breath out, fold in the middle. Breath in, walk over to your left foot. Breath out, fold over that left thigh. Keep the right sit bone grounded. Breath in, walk back to centre. Breath out, fold in the middle. Breath in, back to the right foot. Breath out, fold over that right thigh. Breath in, back to centre. Breath out, fold in the middle. Breath in, over to that left foot for the last time. Breath out and fold over that left thigh. Come back to centre on the in-breath. On the out-breath, fold for the last time in the centre. Then walk the hands back up towards the body. Bring the knees in together. Take a bend in the knees and bring both feet together, knees together. Bring the hands behind you. We're going to windscreen wipe the legs from one side to the other. Squeeze the shoulders back, lift up through the chest. On your out breath, keep the chest facing forward. Drop the knees to your left. Breath in, back to centre. Breath out, knees to your right. Keep the shoulders centralised. Breath in, back to centre. 2 more both sides. Breath out and send the knees to the left. Breath in, back to centre. Breath out, knees to the right. 1 more both sides. Lift into the centre. Send them to the left. Into the centre. And send them to the right. Back into centre. Give those knees a squeeze by wrapping the forearms around those shins. Tuck the chin into the chest. And then turning your body to face that short edge of the mat. Take a hold of the creases of the knees. We're going to rock up and down the spine a few times. So bringing yourself onto that sit bone space. And then just allow the body to roll back and then roll back up to seated. 3 more times. Rolling back, massaging that spine and back up to seated. 2 more. Roll back, come back to seated. 1 more, roll back and come back to seated. This time try and have a feather-like touch through the toes. Breath in, raise the right leg. Breath out, bring that right foot to the floor. Breath in, raise the left leg. Breath out, left foot to the floor. Breath in, raise both legs. Breath out, feet to the floor. This time see if you can straighten the leg a little more. Breath in, straighten through the right leg. Breath out, bring those right toes to the floor. Breath in, fully straight through the left leg, pointing through the toes. Breath out, left foot to the floor. This time both legs straight if you can. Breath in, lift. Breath out, release. Bring the feet to the floor, keep the knees bent. Slowly let that body curl down 1 vertebra at a time, all the way to the mat. And then just bringing the head down to the floor, bring the hands down by the sides of the body, walk the feet in a little closer. We're going to take it into bridge, then into the fetal position, squeezing the knees into the chest, but using breath to movement. Gaze stays up, hands stay flat. Breath in, push into the feet, slowly and mindfully curl up through that spine, 1 vertebra at a time, lifting the hips as high as you can go and squeeze at the top. On your out breath, slowly let those hips come all the way to the mat. Breath in, bring the knees to the chest. Breath out, bring the forehead to the knees. Breath in, release the feet to the floor. Take a breath out. Breath in, push into the feet, raise the hips all the way up to the ceiling. Squeeze the bum as you get to the top. Breath out, slowly bring those bums back to the floor. Breath out, bring the knees to the chest. Breath out, forehead to the knees. Breath in, release the feet to the floor. And take a breath out. Breath in, push into the feet. Raise those hips up to the ceiling. Chin comes to the chest. Don't let the knees splay too far apart. Breath out, slowly bring that bum back to the floor. Breath in, breath in, yes, knees to the chest. Breath out, forehead to the knees. Breath in, release the feet to the floor and take a breath out. 1 more to go. Push into the feet, raise those hips up to the ceiling. Squeeze at the top. On your breath out, slowly let those bums come back to the floor. Your breath in, knees come to the chest. Your breath out, forehead to the knees and squeeze. Take a breath in, release the feet back to the floor and take a breath out here. Straightening both legs up to the ceiling. Toes back to the heels, toes back to the shins, heels pushing away. And just take a moment in this position. Maybe bring your hands out to a T shape, palms facing down. Taking the feet above the heart just takes the pressure off the heart. Doesn't have to send that blood rushing to those extremities for a couple of breaths. If having the legs straight is a little uncomfortable, maybe just take a bend into the knees. Hold it just for another couple of breaths before we take you into relaxation. Wherever feels most comfortable for you in this position. You know you have to engage those thighs to keep those heels pushing up and the toes drawing back. 1 more breath here. Then release the feet to the mat. Heel toe the feet out to the sides, knees stay together in the centre. Make sure the arms are T-shape or cactus arms. And we're going to windscreen wipe the knees from side to side without moving the feet. Take a breath in. On your out breath, drop your knees to the right and your gaze to the left. In breath, knees back to centre. Out breath, knees to the left, gaze to the right. In breath, back to centre. 2 more both sides. Breath out, knees to right, gaze to left. Back to centre. Knees to left, gaze to right. 1 more both sides. Back to centre. In breath. Knees to the right, gaze to the left. Out breath. In breath, back to centre. Out breath, last time to the left. In breath, back to centre. Heel toe the feet back into the middle. On your out breath, let the knees drop out to the sides. In breath, bring the knees back to centre. Out breath, knees drop out to the sides. 2 more of these. In breath, back to centre. Out breath, knees drop out to the side. In breath, back to centre. And then on your out breath, make your way into your most favoured relaxation position. It may be the knees dropping out in butterfly legs. It may be the knees dropping in and the feet out to the width of the mat. Or maybe you're bringing yourself along on the mat and the feet to the front. Wherever feels best for your body, take it to that space. Bring the hands then wherever the legs have landed. Bring the hands down by the sides. Turn the palms up. Let the fingers gently curl. Send the shoulders away from the ears. Maybe have a little rock of those hips to find a comfortable space at the sacrum. Maybe a turn of the head in one direction. Bringing it back through centre and over to the other side. Then finding the head back in that space in the middle. Close the eyes, relax the forehead and relax the jaw. Take a nice long easy breath in through the nose. And a long sigh out through the mouth. Then allow your breath to become its own natural automatic breathing pattern. Letting go of maybe that Ujjayi breathing in and out through the nose. And just bringing it to whatever feels comfortable for you. Bring the awareness to that space between the pubic bone and the belly button. The Svadhisthana chakra, the 2nd chakra. The space where the element is water. The colour is orange. And the space for creativity, sensitivity and feeling. Think of that orange glow in that space of the sacral area. Each time you breathe in, that orange glow gets a little brighter. Each time you breathe out, that orange glow subsides. If you wish to stay in relaxation a little longer, pause the video now. Or if you're coming out with me, maybe start to wriggle those fingers, wriggle those toes. Maybe rotate those wrists and ankles. Maybe start to take a little bend into the knees and the elbows. Maybe you wish to take that full body stretch up and over the head, stretching through the fingers, the toes, maybe arching that lower back. And then bringing those hands back up and over, bringing the knees into the chest, maybe having a little rock of that body from side to side. Just massaging that spine, thanking it for a practice. And then rolling over onto your side, make a pillow with the hands and just take a moment here, taking a deep breath in and a long breath out. Then finding your way into a seated position when you're ready, either with crossed legs on the knees or with the legs straight out in front, keeping the eyes gently closed. Then placing the hands on top of the thighs. Take a roll of the shoulders up to the ears, back down to the hips. Then on your next breath in, reach the hands up and over the head, bring the palms together at the top. Then on your out breath, bring the hands to the chest, soft gaze to the floor. Have peace in your thoughts, your words, your hearts, from my heart to yours. Namaste.